amandascorner.com. Thanks for joining me today. I'm sharing a variation of beginning footwork performed on the Pilates reformer, and I'll be using some of the same positions that are traditionally done in footwork, but we'll be doing them in a little bit less of a traditional fashion. So for starters, my spring setting, I have one light and one medium spring on, so it's just more of a light to moderate resistance. You can definitely do this with less or more weight, depending on your preference and on your goals. If you go lighter, it'll draw in a bit more core. If you go heavier, it's going to be more legs. But this is where I like to do this, so maybe if this is a new exercise, you might want to start with the light and the medium and then play with it from there. I have my jump board inserted. You can do this on just the regular foot bar if you don't have access to a jump board, or if you don't feel like setting up your jump board. You can do it on just your traditional foot bar. Mine's lowered down here, but I find the jump board a little bit more comfortable, and the reason why is because we will be doing this series on top of a foam roller. So I have a half foam roller here, but you can certainly use a full roller, which will be spherical, completely round, all around, and that's going to be a bit more challenging for your balance. So whether you're on the half roller, and especially if you're on the full roller, your body is going to be up high, it's going to be lifted. So I think the jump board's a bit more comfortable for the body mechanics, because it's taller than your foot bar. Okay, so to get on the roller, especially if you're on a light spring, because the carriage can slide fairly easily, you want to come on carefully. It's never too graceful, so you do your best. You're going to sit and kind of ground the roller down, and then I like to take my feet to either side of the jump board, and you want to scooch your tush and your tailbone as far forward as possible. So the idea is that once you come down onto the roller, your entire spine is going to be supported from the tippy top of your head all the way down to the tailbone. It's easiest to start with the arms long and the hands down, palms facing down, and it's okay for your shoulders to come right up against the shoulder rest. So whether you're on your foot bar or your jump board, we're going to start with our traditional Pilates stance. So I have a small V in my feet, my heels are together, it's a narrow V, and I'm going to keep the heels lifted. So I exhale to press out and away to straight soft knees, and I inhale to draw in. So being on the roller accomplishes a few things. First of all, it's drawing in more core muscles here so that I don't wibble and wobble and fall off. I've got my neutral spine, so my low back is not pressed into the roller, and as I keep the length through the back body, I can actually start to align the spine and the right and left sides of the body, so it begins to balance the body, which is also important for the core work. And it opens up through the chest and through the shoulders, so it's encouraging some width from collarbone to collarbone. So that's very important for posture. So just like with traditional Pilates, you could do approximately 10 of these with good form, and then draw all the way in. So the second foot position is going to be bird on a wire, so you're going to be parallel with either the foot bar or the top edge of the jump board in the middle of your arch. So my feet are parallel, and I've got just that top cushioned part of the jump board in the middle here. My toes will be really soft and curled. I'm going to draw my tummy in, and then breathe out to press out. Whenever we're in this parallel posture, we want the knees and toes all heading in the same direction so that the knees are tracking over the second toe on each side. Good. So again, you would continue with your breath and begin to warm up here, draw the tummy in. For additional challenge, you're going to turn the palms of the hands open to the ceiling. So this is a bit more challenge for the core and balance, but also it gives you a little bit more opening through the chest and shoulders. And then if you wanted more, you would let the arms rest off of the carriage, which can feel really nice. You're someone who has a tendency to develop carpal tunnel syndrome, you spend a lot of time on the computer, then this is a good one for you. You can stretch through the hands and fingers to deepen it. So you would perform 10 like this. The third position, you're going to keep the feet parallel, but step up to the heels. So my heels are just going to come right to the top of the cushioned edge, and then lift the toes back towards the shins, so that we start to activate the dorsiflexors and the muscles along the tops of the shins, down the tops of the feet, so it's nice and active. Exhaling out and away, inhaling to draw in, tummy stays tight. Good. So we're using this as a warm-up, and it's definitely a little bit different feel than when you're lying supine and flat on the reformer without this prop. If you don't have a roller, you could also just roll up a blanket or maybe even like a beach towel and make a little bolster to lay underneath you, and you'll get a similar effect. Good. Okay, so from there, you'll take the heels to the edges. If you're on the jump board, it is probably not going to be as wide as your foot bar. And that's okay, but you still want to get a nice big turnout here. So this is a great place to also add in lifting through the pelvic floor as you press out. I find a lot of people have more difficulty with this variation, this nice wide turnout, as far as staying really still on the roller, which means that they likely are not pushing evenly through both heels and both sides of the body. So in order to stay really still, we need a tight stomach, so we have that abdominal support, like a little corset from the inside out. But we also need to be working in a balanced fashion so that the right and left hemispheres of the body are very harmonious in their force and effort. And when all of that comes together, it should feel really good. It should feel fairly secure. Good. Okay, so from here, you are going to go knock knees. We're going to go to internal rotation at the hips. We're going to step down onto the toes. You'll breathe out to press out and away, and breathe in to come in. So unless you are naturally, anatomically a little bit knock-kneed, this might feel a bit awkward. We don't tend to spend a lot of time, do a lot of activities in internal rotation. And also, some people have a tendency to develop a little bit of knee pain when they're internally rotated. So if that's the case, then I suggest trying to lessen your angle of inversion so that you become a little bit more parallel, and that usually solves it. Good, so I'm going to try one more. I know I didn't do 10 of each kind, but you would on your own. And then I'm going to come back to that first position I was in where I've got my Pilates stance. I'm on the balls of the feet. My knees are going to be in line with the shoulders, or a bit more narrow. I'm going to breathe out to press out, and then I'm going to lower the heels down. So if you're on your foot bar, you would lower the heels underneath and get a nice stretch. If you're on the jump board, you just come to a flat position and then press up, so releve, and lower down. Pressing up and either lowering to a flattened position or letting the heels drop and finding a stretch through the Achilles, through the calves. Good. Okay, so then I'm going to flatten my heels or keep them low underneath the bar and start to bend the knees to come in. And I'm going to keep the heels as heavy and as low as long as possible so that I draw the stretch down deeper into the calf, now into the soleus, and come all the way in. So in order to come up and off safely, you can either just scooch to the side a little bit. Some people like to sit up and turn. Whatever feels safest, just be safe. And if you're teaching a class, then you might want to just hold the roller for your client to safely get up and off. So that's just a nice variation. I like to use that from time to time. It's also really nice for somebody who's having some back issues or just a lot of tightness through the chest, or somebody who maybe has been practicing Pilates for a long time and has sort of just kind of starts to go through footwork on autopilot, so that perhaps their mind is not as engaged as you would like it to be. So if you've got somebody who just pops down and is doing footwork and is also telling you about their day and their grocery list and 5 other things, then this is a good thing to just make them have to stop and draw in a little bit more awareness into how their body is feeling and how they're moving, into their breath, into their brain. So we can start to redevelop or remind them about that mind-body connection, so that when they're in Pilates class, they're really just focused on themselves, how they're feeling, and their Pilates, and not all the other things going on in the world. So try it out, let me know how you like it, and thanks for joining me. Bye.